Hello everybody, Tank Grim here with a first series for this channel, No Grain, No Gain, on a Saxlingham, Norfolk, UK map on FS25. Before we get into it, let's roll the intro. Alright guys, so for this series, No Grain, No Gain, the big conception is we're in Saxlingham. There's no productions on this map, so in order to get our sales, we need to sell grain. Now with that, we're also doing a series with no mods except Giants only, including DLC that I purchased, as well as Creative Mesh. The Straw Harvest is essentially like a Giants mod, in my opinion, as well as we have one additional mod in here. It is right here. So I added this guy in just so we can do vegetable harvesting. Now with this, you can see it does have a potato harvest as well, but we're not going to be allowed to use that one. We can only use this one for carrots, parsnips, and red beets. And that's only because if you play the game, you know, coming down here to vegetables, these are very difficult to use solo player. This has none. So with this, we'll have about a 1700 capacity if we choose to do vegetables. Again, only going to be used for parsnips, carrots, and red beets. Alright, so with that, again, no mods except Giants DLC. That's all I have installed. We have the starting equipment on this farm itself. No protections at the start, so we're going to have to earn everything with just grain itself. Now, there's exceptions to that as well. Greenhouses we can place, those are allowed, but we can't use the produce of that to make any production, so we can't use the lettuce, mushrooms, any of the stuff that comes from the greenhouse. We can put them down and then sell the product immediately, as well as biogas. We can use a biogas. There is one on the map, so we can buy that later. Honey's allowed, probably won't use it just because honey is not very good in this game. And agriculture, I do have the Highlands fishing in here, so we could use these as well if we so choose. And if you know Saxlingham, map won't go in the wrong way here. Oh no, it's going the right way. Coming down here, this map is very nice. You have the biogas here, but you also have these 3 locations that you are able to place productions eventually. With that, again, none other than everything on that. Land we own is going to be the starting land. So everything's started as new farmers. So we have these 2 down here, as well as the farmland that we have, and 2 fields. Everything has barley in it. Precision farming is installed. So goals on this series, it's kind of a mini goals. After we get $1 million in grain sales, and that's not total. That's kind of like once we earn 1 million and can keep 1 million. We are allowed to place the productions. Now again, these are only going to be productions that are in here from base game, and then after another million we can add some mods, and the focus on the mods that we would be able to add would be if I want to go to auto load and pallet mods if for factories are getting out of control, or more placeable as, so not really for equipment, but if we want to do any type of placement, it can be very loose on those. This series is mainly to see how difficult it is to actually earn money with base game equipment, kind of just doing the nod to the base game equipment. So really mini goals in this series, not anything too massive. And this series is going to be ongoing. There isn't really any end goal. We'll start this up and then eventually we'll shift to another series, but we'll come back to it maybe when DLC drops or just once in a while just to see how we're doing and doing some upkeep, maybe more time lapse and stuff like that. But we're not there yet. We're going to be starting out here to do a couple of years probably on it, and then we'll transition to something else. Again, always come back to this as well as seeing how Farm Sim is with the additions and stuff. And I think this is a good map. Again, we have a lot of capability out here. It's a big map, big field, so we can use a lot of equipment. The only equipment we won't probably use is that Nexus equipment. I don't even remember where it is. I used it once and wasn't a big fan. If we want, we could transition this series to maybe another map, but we'll see when that time comes. All equipment is our starting equipment if you're unfamiliar with Saxlingham. Nothing in here. Then we have... Actually, you know, let's make this easier. We will come into here and look at vehicles. So we have the fertilizer spreader and lime spreader. This is nice because with the other additions we do have lime, and we're going to need lime with precision farming. This is one of our two tractors, 180 horsepower for the Claas Arian 570. This is the header for the harvester. Here's our harvester. Very good one, Lexan 6900 with 13,500 on there. We have a baler. Also nice to have the square. Seeder. The sprayer. A disc harrow. A trailer. The header trailer, as well as our other our other tractor at 270, and we have a plow, and that's all we have. What I will probably also end up getting coming up here, we'll probably end up getting a car. It's not going to be, this isn't necessarily a realistic series. This is more playing as realistic as probably your average Farm Sim player plays. But we'll get probably maybe one of these guys, probably this guy. It's automatic. We'll get that just to have kind of a driving around vehicle. For we can add a trailer hitch, whether we tow anything for it, or this is just kind of a trip to go pick up equipment or anything like that. And before we get too much into it, there's a few things I want to delete on this farm coming in here. So it's a little tricky, but it can be done. Alright, so we're looking to get rid of that. Sells for $0. I just don't, I understand the concept he did with it. They're just kind of in the way. There's one more. I forget where. Is it up here? Let's walk around. Because there's two that are kind of in the way, because they're inside, and you can't use them. It might be over here. Doesn't look like it's in these. Maybe I'm going crazy. I thought there was two that I needed to remove. I thought there was one in there, but maybe not. In here, no. Okay. Well, if there's not two, oh, I see. It's the one behind this trailer or tractor here. So let's try to line up. And there you go. As you can see, guys, I am on PlayStation, so any mods that are PC or anything I don't have, obviously, just going to be on PlayStation. Maybe eventually get to a PC. But with that being said, we can get into this. We have 7 and 19, and then 3 and 2. If you see, they are all ready to harvest. So we can hop into our combine down here and get started with the settings as well. Jumping around a little bit. Just gonna be 2.5, or 2 1-day month season's gonna be on, and then everything else is going to be activated. And this series is kind of just trying to really showcase what Farm Sim 25 has to offer and the difficulty of it without mods. I think once we get into having mods, you can get a little far away from what the game offers and how difficult it is. It's more of an ode to the modders itself, of how awesome the modders are and how great they change the game. Coming in here too, we have things for sale. Nothing of interest. Ridges. We have a spader. We're not going to go downsize on our... I don't think that's the one for our harvester. We could get it though. I think that is... Yeah, we could get it though. That's for this one. No. Let's see, which one's that for? I see, that is for this guy down here. I guess. Yeah. Well, that's good to know. I don't think it's worth getting that type of harvester. No, we'll stick with this bad boy. And let's get to it. It's up here, so we got it there. And guys, if I need to adjust volumes, I'll do that in the editor, but hopefully it's not overkill right now. If it is, then the next series will be better, or you'll maybe let you see this one at all. Alright, so let's back on here. Alright, there we go. Let's pull this out. Let's get her over here out of the way, because we're going to be using that silo to get most of our stuff. Good for now. I have no idea if I'll write that back in at all. Let's attach her up. And we will make bales. Every little bit counts. We can sell bales as well. It's not technically grain. But again, the concept is basically selling raw material in order for us to work. I'll try to hide in the lines here. Alright, I guess I did go over. My bad. So we can use workers if we need to. Contracts, I'm just going to try to limit. Basically, try to do our land as much as possible. I'm just going to cut straight across here. Yeah, but use everything from our land as much as possible, and not too much with contracts and other landowners. Anything we have, we're not going to be allowed to sell either. So if we buy something, we have to be really smart with it, which should be fine. The goal would be to have a big empire on this map and kind of run everything. And just seeing what, hey, if modern thing exists, what would giants be expecting us to do with it? So it'll be interesting. I don't know. Well, disasters are enabled, but I don't know all in Saxlingham matter. Some modders kind of adjusted it, so we're not going to have to keep moving out. And we did start with 100,000. We used $1 for that one worker, which is fine. Back up. So a little about me, a little about the channel. Tank Rim started up this channel just recently. I had this idea of just doing it for a while. Just kind of for fun, nothing real too important. It's going to be mainly for the farming simulator channel. Occasionally we might spread out to maybe other simulator games, as well as just kind of other chillish type of games. I just want to play anymore, and just kind of uploading them. You want to watch them maybe. And again, it's going to be mostly farm sim. Maybe on some other days we do. I just do an upload of playthrough of some other simulator, some other game. Just to have as well, but in the beginning it's just going to be some sim only. So why I decided to do it, again, just something I've always wanted to kind of mess with and create and do. I found myself, I am in the military, I'm in the Air Force. I am a pilot in Air Force. I'm going to say what I fly just for security and safety reasons itself. So playing these games is kind of just a nice little breath of fresh air from just the daily grind that military members have, as well as what we see and endure. It can be tough on mentally on yourself, and these kind of are an escape route for it. And another reason starting the channel up, just kind of bringing that to everyone else gives me something to do, a little creative challenge, as well as we've had twin daughters in 2025, and it's kind of a way for me to create content that, in 20 years or wherever, if they want to come back and watch these videos when they're playing a game, you know, they're able to, you know, and maybe play along and do the same type of thing that I was doing. You know, or they don't. It don't matter. But this is just a nice little series and channel to do that, and we'll see how it goes. This is more for me than for anyone else, but if you find enjoyment out of it, that's awesome. As you can see, we're not getting the greatest heat off of this. We're only getting 70%, so not too great. But we probably could buy stuff. But, you know, these are essentially free fields when you think of it. Over there to our right, when we come around that, is a spot that we'll look at potentially putting in some goats, or maybe sheep, to see what we can do there. This farm is kind of tight, so it is a little difficult of what we can put in. The map does have a ton of farms and other stuff we can buy as well, so we can have multiple farms. And they have cows and stuff on it. Ideally, like this field next to us would not be a bad one to grab eventually, but you can see the field is happy just under. We are playing on easy. I did this kind of at the start of this FS25, and it's tough to get money without mods. A lot of the equipment is not, I wouldn't say overpriced, but more pricey than what some mods are. So it makes it a little difficult compared to once you start adding mods, right? You can get some really cheap tractors, harvesters, stuff like that. Even if you're staying, you know, you're not going to the Chris Riley S with the Colossal harvesters, you know, it's still pretty expensive for some of them. I mean, and the goal would be to touch almost all the different types of crops we have. So yeah, we're gonna do peas, we're gonna do spinach, we're gonna do cotton, we're gonna do all the different ones we can. So we're gonna be growing. That's why I added that veggie mod in, so it's kind of realistic. We'll probably honestly use that one more for parsnips and carrots, because we do have red beet harvesters available. So that's what we'll probably try doing more. So I hope I don't remember if I did one or two headlands. I think it's only one. One headline, and that is interesting. So this is just going to do a little bit here. Cheapest fan. I'm a big cheapest fan. I love having it, even on these small fields. Don't need it. It's just super nice now. So yeah, right in there is fenced off. That we can do a pasture of some type, and kind of enclosed. It stinks that mods have that fenceless one. You know, there's not one in game. It's just gonna put up that orange fence. As for myself, playing Farm Sim since actually FS19, got it on PlayStation Plus and randomly just played it. Trying to get trophies. Used to do a little bit of trophy hunting back in the day, but just played on a whim, and honestly it was such a nice game. I wouldn't say I was around COVID times. I would just say it was a nice little game to break away and just kind of fell in love. There's a huge learning curve in this series, or in this game, and I would just recommend anyone new, if you're trying to figure out stuff, I'm going to put together a video of tips and tricks that are more niche, so they're not going to go into too much detail on things. They're going to be more really unique things that most people don't talk about as much. But if you're looking for tutorials, I'm not going to do anyone here, especially at the start. I would recommend the ones who I use was Pharmacology. These tutorials are really good. Also, there's a lot of breakdowns on productions. It kind of says whether they're worth it or not. And if you don't like him, just search, you know, what you're looking for. The Reddit page is super helpful. I'm on there a ton. Helping other people with a whole bunch of questions and stuff like that. People don't know how to do. I recommend searching your issue, because someone else probably has had it. but YouTube also has a great community of people willing to help, and that's something I've enjoyed. Is just the community is super nice. FS25 definitely has a lot more issues. Giants, I think, tried to do too much between this and their racing game, Project Motorsports, which hasn't been doing well. I not a big racing guy, but I think they tried doing too much with too little. You can see it with some of their releases where it's just, there's issues, right? Patches happen, and there's just obvious issues. Precision farming was one that came to mind. There's just a ton of issues on precision farming, and they just let it roll. And whether it's people testing it or not, don't know fully what the issue is, but yeah, it hasn't been a great time. And I know a lot of video games outside of just Giants and FS Farms and Games is they release it almost as like a beta, and there's issues always at start. DICE was really bad with it with Battlefield. I didn't play 6, so I don't know, but a lot of stuff like that they just release, and there's so many obvious issues that it's somewhat unplayable. I remember PlayStation, the game crashed a ton in the beginning, and FS22 wasn't the smoothest either, but it wasn't on the same level as FS25 in my opinion. Game's super playable now. Super enjoyed it this whole time. Looks like we're also full, but there's just some weird spots that it's well, why didn't you guys test that maybe a little bit more before releasing it. It's just some obvious issues. I remember precision farming had the tram line issues, which were super cool, but you do a contract and you can finish it because the tram lines would be taking out the amount you needed. But anyway, off that high horse issue, let's take the other claws over here. Oh yeah, super cool. So actually, it's down here, isn't it? Oh, I can't see. I think it's over here. Yeah, there she is. Get this, and we're going to help that. I think that's actually a little bit more. Side of it. I'll turn her off. I'll go over here. Hop back in. Let her empty. Alright. Hey guys, I'm going to try to put also a good amount of videos out a week again. Starting just the channel, so I know the grind in that beginning. But again, we're just here. But I think enjoy and hopefully help anyone out who maybe starts a process. As well as that tips and trick video, I think is going to help a lot. I'll go into how you can use multiplayer on console to really help do some setups if you want. Mr. CLP, really great YouTuber. He goes into detail a little bit on how he does some stuff. I don't recall if he's ever done a how-to on any of his stuff. He usually has a type of government or a township who is in the background with his farm that he uses and manipulates. So a lot of people will be like, on PC you don't have to do any of that type of stuff. You can do the easy dev tools, take money in, take money out. Take money in, take money out. And set yourself up with whatever you want, right? If you want to start with $8,900, you would set yourself up with $8,900. Wear on equipment, stuff like that. Console will allow hand locked. But you can start with whatever money you wanted to on Farm Sim 1 console. It's just a little bit more work. For example, if we wanted to start with $0 in the series, we easily could do that as well. I'd show you that in that video, as well as some other little tricks I've done. I have kind of all the series in the background that I do for myself, and a trick that I have on that is setting up a silo that gives you free fertilizer, seed, stuff like that. So if I do a contract that needs fertilizer on that gameplay I'm playing, I think it's weird to me that, hey, a farmer's going to be saying, hey, you can come use my equipment, I need you to fertilize my field, I'm paying you $20,000, but I'm not going to give you the fertilizer. So the way I do it on that series is build the fertilizer spreader myself using that free modded silo, and then when I'm done, return all the equipment, well, not return equipment, and the contract, and then that gets rid of the fertilizer in there, and it costs me nothing. Essentially, just how I think it should be. I think it's a little weird that you'd have to pay for fertilizer, spraying, stuff like that. I know, a little creepy, but a nice little thing you can add, and you can add that to a lot of maps. I just set it up in the store. Again, that video will come out. I gotta put together a couple of different things, and some things I've just learned on the way. One, I learned from Farm Sim Guy. I learned from Scrawl to learn from Farm Sim Guy. And that was, again, a super unique little item, but we'll get into that. But for now, I'm just gonna do a little time lapse on this field, I believe, and then we'll do I'll get the other ones going as well, maybe time lapse. If not, we'll get the end. I'll let you know what we get at the end. All right.
There's a light on in the kitchen and a cold beer in the fridge. One light over the front door shining on the welcome mat. The stars are bright, they look close enough to touch. The fireflies are out tonight, so let them light the way. 'Cause there's a house, a country house, and when I find it, that's where I'll stay. There's a fresh cut row of flowers sitting on the windowsill, a warm bed and an old quilt that she made herself. It's a place where you can slow down and let go of everything. It's been calling me forever, and I'm not that far away from that house, that country house. And when I find it, that's where I'll stay. That's where I'll stay. When I find it, that's where I'll stay. When I find it, that's where I'll stay. When I find it, that's where I'll stay. There's a stay.
guys, so that'll do those 2 fields. We harvested 7 and 19. That'll do it for this episode. We are all set to go to take over and do field 3 and 2 next. Out of these 2 fields, we've got a grand total of 63,000 barley in there. We'll sell that this winter. But thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment below too as well what you guys want to see in this series or what we can keep on doing. But thanks for watching. See ya.